like it's been in Redfern with a thumping win on Monday night, the half century against Parramatta, and they got oh so close today against the Canberra Raiders. 47 points to 18, the full-time score, and Nathan Merritt, on the back of 5 tries on Monday night, comes out in just 6 days to get himself a hat-trick, and it was wonderful rugby league, 47 to 18. They dominated possession. They played most of the game in Canberra's half, and, well, the completion rate, 31 of 36. You're going to win most of your games when you have a completion rate like that.
They played very good football, only a couple of mistakes in the first half, a few in the second, and what they did with the football when they had the dominated possession at the start or the first 20 minutes or so of each half, they really played a good solid game. Made a lot of breaks, but played a good kick-chase game, and territorially they dominated and made it really difficult for the Raiders, who struggled all afternoon.
Yeah, 24-6 at half-time. The South Sydney Rabbitohs led the Canberra Raiders, and they scored first South in the second half. It did take 10 minutes, and it was the first time we really saw Nathan Merritt this afternoon.
Well, until this try, the 50th minute, he was very, very quiet. The only efforts I can remember before that were on kick returns, and just couldn't get involved, couldn't get a lot of football despite the fact that his team had already scored 4 converted tries in the first half. But then once he got into the game, well, he was well and truly back into the game, using that great speed with in support. Josh Dugan got a try. They got the Raiders a little bit of hope for a short period of time there. They scored another one on the left from a Dugan long ball. They had a couple disallowed as well. That
was the disallowed try there to Reece Robinson. The pass was ruled forward.
Oh, okay, well, here's his
Short
try.
time later, he did score.
I knew he did score.
That, just gave it a little bit of a sniff for the Canberra Raiders at 36-18. That was extinguished. Any chance of a comeback with a drop goal there from Chris Sando, his 7th of the season. And then South Sydney, a couple of tries. Nathan Merritt, his 3rd try and 8 in the last 2 games. And he is the NRL's leading try scorer. After Ben Barber has led that for most of the season, but he's going to take some catching now. Nathan Merritt. And they finish with a try right on full time in the 78th minute to Chris McQueen. And, well, they didn't have enough time to try and rack up 50 points for 2 weeks in a row, which would have been the first time since 1910 that Souths had done that. But it was a terrific day for them. Greg Inglis, who was replaced at half-time with a mild concussion, he's okay. Merritt a hat-trick. McQueen. Ben Ross, his first try for the season, first try in 3 years. And Farrell. Chris Sando missed a couple. One hit the upright and a penalty shot at goal that you would have thought he would have kicked, and maybe they would have got the 50, South Sydney. But they did concede 18 points this afternoon. At times, their defence did look a little bit dusty.
Oh, look, the Raiders can attack. When they hold the football, they've got some very good attack. Their right side, I thought Joel Thompson was excellent, along with Blake Ferguson out there, looked very dangerous. And then when they went to their left, particularly late in the second half, they found a lot of space, attacking Isaac, Luke and Chris Sando on that side of the field. So, yeah, they have some defensive issues. That's their biggest problem. They only had 6 points scored against them last week by the Eels, 3 tries today by the Raiders, and a couple disallowed. So I reckon that would be really where John Lang would be focusing, or should be focusing, as they get closer to the finals. And as you said, the dream is alive. The finals are a possibility for the Bunnies still on the back of a good win.
Yes, well, they've got to keep winning. That is the bottom line. They take on the Cowboys in Friday night football in the next round, whereas the Canberra Raiders take on the Gold Coast Titans, the first game on Super Saturday, next Saturday afternoon, in what is really a battle for the wooden spoon. If the Titans win that one, the pressure really is on the Canberra Raiders. If they can beat the Titans, you would say that they...
It's a tussle there. It's a four-way tussle.
No one wants to win that.
Parramatta are trying to get... The Roosters are doing their best to get it as well. The Raiders, that was a good effort today. Big chance of getting the spoon.
Let's see how talkative you are next Saturday afternoon. Now, Greg Inglis, as we mentioned, replaced at half-time, but not before he scored a couple of tries. He did suffer a nasty head knock and had a little bit of concussion. That's why he came off. But he is really in form at the moment, particularly with the big man, David Taylor, on his inside.
A good bounce there, yeah, from that ball around the corner from Johnny Sutton. But, look, they're tough on that side of the field to defend against. The Raiders really did aim up on them. That intercept there, he just showed that great speed. Dugan is no slouch in the speed department, and he couldn't make any headway on Greg Inglis. But, yeah, that head clash there, he was dazed for a while. and they decided precautionarily just to keep him off in the second half. And when you've got a 24-0 lead, I guess you can do that.
It must be hard for South Sydney supporters in particular, but also the club, when you see Chris Sando just really developing as a halfback in this competition, to know that he's not going to be at the club next year.
Yeah, it would be really difficult. His best football that he's played. You know, he played some great football in the last few years, but the best football he has played that I've seen, match-winning football, under-pressure football, has been since he announced that he was going to Parramatta. And that field goal that we saw, yeah, sure, they had an 18-point break that gave him to 19, but what wonderful practice that is for the finals. I mean, is there a player that you'd bank on more so in a tight situation, a golden point game or an even game as you come to the last few minutes, more so than Chris Sando to kick it?
Well, he's kicked 7.
Yeah, he goes all right. He nailed that one too.
That is the biggest problem. I know we're not even finished with this season yet, but that is South Sydney's biggest problem for next year.
What, field goals?
No, replacing him.
Absolutely, yes. It's a big concern. I mean, who's going to step into those shoes? He's a vital cog in that machine, which I've got to say, at the moment, is rolling along beautifully. Isaac Luke in the middle of the ruck. Isn't he causing some dramas? On their left edge, they've got some great attack. And their right side, they come at you as well. And yeah, and now Nathan Merritt, he's added another dimension to their game at the back, the way he's playing. And
speaking of the Canberra Raiders, who are really struggling at the moment, injury-wise, as a lot of clubs are, but today Josh Dugan was terrific for them. He tried his heart out. He created opportunities. He was in everything that Canberra did that was good, and no fault to him, the loss today. He really did try his heart out.
That was an incredible effort, that one of the first carrybacks that he had under a lot of pressure, and he made 40 or 50 metres upfield. He eventually scored a try. Set a try, or had one disallowed. He really is getting back to where he was before, all those injuries that have plagued him this season. He's a tough character. He rips in, goes hard. He had a lot of work to do at the back there. He had a lot of numbers coming at him. Nathan Merritt put some good footwork on him a couple of times, but he's going to do that to the best fullbacks.
Yeah, a bit of a worry for him, though. He did limp from their last try that South scored to Chris McQueen, limped back to halfway, and when he left the field this afternoon, he limped as well. But Canberra fans will be hoping that he can be on the park next Saturday afternoon when they take on the Gold Coast Titans in what is a crunch game for them. They don't want to be equal with the Titans down the bottom of the table if it comes to it.
He's all right, I think.
Well, here is the ladder.
A light week at training.
Yeah, Parramatta will be hoping that the Gold Coast don't beat Canberra as well, because that would mean they would be on the bottom of the table. But you can see the importance today for South Sydney. They're one win outside the top 8. They've improved their for and against. There's only 54 points the difference between them and Newcastle at the moment. And a big win next week against the Cowboys, and a big loss for Newcastle, or in any of these games coming home, and all of a sudden South Sydney, well, they are right in it.
You said it before, Mark, just keep winning. But yeah, don't let other sides back in too far. So I think today, that was a pretty fair margin, wasn't it? Was it 25 points in the end? 25? What did we end up?
47 to 18.
Yeah, there you go. 29. That's not a bad result
Close,
for them.
you're
That's pretty good. Well,
close.
I had to look down at the notes.
No, but you did pretty well with that calculator. Now, just before we go, next week we've got a terrific game on NRL Sunday as well at Brookvale Oval, Manly and Canterbury. And Canterbury aren't out of it yet. Of course, they're in Monday Night Football tomorrow night against Cronulla. If they were to come up with a big win, they're still not to be discounted. But South Sydney, once you start realising, well, we're still a chance. The last few weeks they've just played and enjoyed it and played with a little bit of a carefree attitude, knowing they have to keep winning. But now it starts to get a little bit tighter.
They're playing great footy. I hope they can just keep playing with the sort of attitude they've got. They're building a good game. They didn't come out and just throw the football willy-nilly on the back of that win last week against the Parramatta Eels. They did build into this game well. Fortunately, they got some early points. But, yeah, I still like the way they're playing, and they have got a wonderful attacking unit.
The League Lounge tonight at 8:30 on Fox Sports 2.